Senator Lankford. And Senator Lankford, before you talk about your amendment, we do have votes that have been called. We're going to try to plow through this as quickly as we can. But with that, Senator Lankford.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Last week, I would hope that we were all a little surprised when there was leaked out information that came from a meeting at the White House with the Interagency Task Force on Family Reunification and White House staff and the ACLU, where apparently at that meeting there was an agreement made that there will be payments of $450,000 per person to individuals that were, quote-unquote, separated at the border, individuals that had illegally crossed our border and that were now going to be paid $450,000 for that separation time. The interesting thing is the definition for the Interagency Task Force on Family Reunification stretches from January the 20th, 2017 to January the 20th, 2021. The zero tolerance policy in the Trump administration was from April the 6th, 2018 to June the 20th of 2018. But the definition seems to be much wider. Now, we do not know how many individuals that this settlement agreement applies to. We also do not know how many individuals have been already given parole, as they have hinted from the Interagency Task Force that they are allocating parole to individuals. So these are individuals that have legal status in the United States already, but now apparently are going to be given $450,000 a person. We've asked for details on this. We've been given nothing. So this simple amendment is this. In a bill that's dealing with human trafficking, border security is important. Not incentivizing individuals to illegally cross the border is also important. We know what coyotes do in Central America. We have no question about it. They take whatever piece of news they take from the American government, they deliver that to individuals that are vulnerable in Central America, and they say, if you go now, pay us now as a coyote, but if you go now to America, here's what you're going to get. There is no question that this will be the news in Central America, that if you go now, you're going to get $450,000 if you cross. Now, just as a reminder for our veterans that are killed in the line of duty, they are paid $100,000, is what the military calls the death gratuity. This is consideration, apparently, that they're going to pay $450,000 to individuals who had illegally crossed the border and who had been separated during that time period. The majority of American people, I don't even have to ask them if they think that people that had illegally crossed the border should get $450,000 and families of those who had died in the line of duty serving in our military should get $100,000. I don't even have to ask that question. I already know where they are. This is a straightforward proposal to say we need to set aside this interagency task force. We need to not agree to the settlement agreements that they're making behind closed doors and pulling it out of the judgment fund. And if they're going to pay individuals $450,000 after they illegally cross the border, that money should be taken from the salary of the individuals in the interagency task force, not from the American people. So that's this proposal.
Thank you, Senator Lankford. I oppose the Senator Lankford's amendment basically because it would rescind the interagency task force on the reunification of families, which President Biden established to help reunify the thousands of children separated from their parents under the previous administration. In my mind, no child should be forced to experience the trauma of needless separation from their parents. The task force's work is vital to remedying this wrong. So far, the task force has identified nearly 4,000 children separated under the previous administration's zero-tolerance policy and has reunified 50 children with their parents. As a nation, I believe we have a moral obligation to right these prior wrongs, and I urge a no vote. The question before us is the Lankford Amendment. All those in favor will say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
I'd like to get a roll call vote, please.
Clerk will call the roll.
Senator Carper.
No by proxy.
Senator Hassan. No. Senator Sinema. No. Senator Rosen. No. Senator Padilla. Senator Ossoff. No. Senator Portman.
Aye.
Senator Johnson.
Aye.
Senator Paul.
Aye by proxy.
Senator Lankford.
Aye.
Senator Romney. Senator Scott. Senator Hawley. Senator Peters.
No.
Mr. Chairman, on the vote of those present, the yeas are 6, the nays are 6. On the vote by proxy, the yeas are 1, the nays are 1. On this vote, the yeas are 7, the nays are 7. The amendment is not agreed to.
The amendment is not adopted. Does any other senator have an amendment? If not, the question is on final passage of Senate 2991. If there's no further debate on the bill, all those in favor will say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. The bill is reported favorably. In order to expedite this, I'm going to go immediately to en bloc because we have a lot of bills there, and then we will continue to work on the other bills. But I know folks may want to run back and forth to vote. This would give us an opportunity to have those folks who want to debate some of the other bills at the time. But we want to right now proceed to the consideration of 14 legislative measures and 2 postal naming bills. So I ask unanimous consent we consider the reporting of the following legislation en banc. S3035 Good AI Act as amended by a Peters substitute amendment. S2993 CISA Cyber Exercise Act as amended by a Rosen substitute amendment. S2540 CISA Technical Corrections and Improvements Act of 2021 as amended by a Portman Peters substitute amendment. S2322 CTPAT Pilot Program Act of 2021 as amended by a Carper substitute amendment. S2793 Smart Leasing Act as amended by a Peters substitute amendment. S2541 Shadow Wolves Enhancement Act as amended by a Cinema substitute amendment. S1941 MAPS Act of 2021 as amended by a Peters substitute amendment and a Peters Amendment 2. S2838 Access to Congressionally Mandated Reports Act. S419 Contract Act of 2021. S442 Bright Act of 2021. S2989 DHS Blue Campaign Enhancement Act as amended by a Peters substitute amendment. H.R. 4426 Homeland Security for Children Act. H.R. 2617 Performance Enhancement Reform Act. H.R. 4363 DHS Contract Reporting Act of 2021 as amended by a Peters Portman substitute amendment, and 2 postal naming bills, H.R. 3419, H.R. 2044. Hearing no objection, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed say nay. A majority of members having having voted in the affirmative, the ayes have it, and the measure is reported favorably to the Senate. We will now move to consideration of S2491, Defense of the United States Infrastructure Act of 2021. Does any senator wish to speak on behalf?
Where's this? We'll just clarify that this is as amended by the Rosen substitute.
Okay, but this is.
I don't think he's offering it. So you can go to final passage. We're in the final passage of this one.
We'll proceed to consideration. Or anybody wish to speak on this bill? Hearing none, we will.
You need to say that this will consider final passage as adopted by the Rosen substitute.
What?
Yeah.
We will proceed to consider. I ask unanimous consent that the committee consider the Rosen-Hessen substitute as the underlying bill. Seeing no objection, the substitute is adopted.
Final passage.
Where is that?
2491.
If there are no further debate or amendments, the questions on final passage of S2491 is amended. All those in favor will say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The majority of members having voted in the affirmative, the ayes have it. The bill is reported favorably. Senator Scott will be recorded as a no.
Mr. Chairman, I'd also like to be recorded as a no.
Senator Hawley will be recorded as a no.
Also a no here.
Senator Johnson will be recorded as a no. We will now proceed to consideration of S2274, and I ask unanimous consent that the committee consider the Hessen substitute amendment as modified to the underlying bill. Seeing no objections, the substitute will be considered. Accepted. Does any member wish to offer an amendment?
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Lankford.
Mr. Chairman, I have a quick amendment dealing with the shortage of highly qualified candidates. Obviously, as we deal with the cybersecurity workforce issue, this is a very big issue for us. This gives the direct hiring authority, if there is a severe shortage of highly qualified candidates, and allows them. The current definition of this is just if there's candidates available. Obviously, there may be candidates available, but any of you that work in the IT area, like Senator Rosen and multiple others know, there's a difference between candidates and highly qualified candidates. When we're dealing with the IT issues here in the cybersecurity workforce, it's important they be given hiring authorities there based on do they have qualified candidates that are there. So this makes a small change there to say if there's a severe shortage of highly qualified candidates, then they're allowed to be able to do direct hiring authority on that. So it allows them to be able to engage faster, to be able to bring people in. So that's the amendment.
Well, I certainly appreciate Senator Lankford's attention to the issue of recruiting and hiring quality candidates. However, I will not be voting in favor of this amendment that has broad and potentially unintended implications across federal agencies. And although I agree that there are circumstances in which agencies should have direct hiring option, this approach needs to be used carefully to protect the merit system protections, fairness in federal hiring process, and an apolitical professional civil service. The Office of Personnel Management already specifies that evidence related to the availability of, quote, quality candidates can lead to a determination that there is a shortage of candidates, enabling agencies to use direct hiring in this circumstance. Adding the term highly qualified to government-wide criteria imposes a more ambiguous phrase on the process and creates risk of paths leading for agencies to circumvent the merit system. Moreover, this amendment is not directly related to the underlying bill, which is specific to programs within the Department of Homeland Security. In addition, participants who successfully complete the apprenticeship program authorized by the bill would be appointed to cybersecurity positions in the accepted service, which already involves a significant amount of flexibility compared to the competitive service. I do not think this amendment is appropriate for Senator Hessen's cyber apprenticeship bill, and I would urge my colleagues to vote no.
Mr. Chairman?
Senator,
I'll be very brief given the situation with the votes, but I do strongly support this. We need more flexibility. And by the way, the VA already has this authority, we're told. So it's very simple. It simply says add highly qualified. And I think that's important to ensure that we have the cyber workforce we need.
Mr. Chairman.
Senator Lankford.
Just as a quick follow-up on that, not only does the VA already have this is the definition that's already working, and it's also the #1 request of the chief human capital officers across the federal government when they're trying to bring IT people in. They have this battlefield going on with OPM where OPM will say, we've given you candidates. And they'll say, I understand you've given me candidates. We need qualified candidates. And they want the flexibility to be able to go after highly qualified individuals in the IT area. And if there's any area I would think we would want to specialize right now, especially with what's going on right now, is to be able to give these agencies the ability to be able to go after highly qualified individuals and to use the flexibilities. We're competing against the private market here. We should be making sure that we're actually bringing good quality people in the process. This is something the chief human capital officers are all looking for.
Senator Hessen.
Mr. Chair, I would just say that the issue that Senator Lankford has raised through this amendment is obviously an important issue. I would look forward to working with him directly on this. I do think the amendment as drafted could have significant unintended consequences, and I'll urge my colleagues to vote against it. Thank you.
If there's no further debate on the amendment, all those in favor will say aye. Opposed, nay? No. Nay? The majority of members present having voted in the negative, the nays have it. The amendment is not agreed to. If there's no further debate or
this will be a big issue for us, and we're going to have a big struggle in hiring folks. And not to be predictive, but this is already occurring.
I agree, Senator Lankford. We're going to be working on this issue and look forward to working with you as well. If there's no further debate or amendment, the question is on final passage.